All right, I am desperately hoping that third time is a charm because this is the third time I've recorded this video and gotten nowhere. So we'll see. We will see. So we are classifying 3D figures. You have prisms and cylinders. Prisms and cylinders are nice because you have two bases. You may want to make a note of that, completely up to you though. With the prism, you're focusing on the fact that you have two parallel bases and you're kind of looking for the odd shape out. Whereas with a cylinder, you've got two parallel bases, but obviously your bases are circles. Nice and easy to identify. Then you've got pyramids and cones. A pyramid and a cone both have one base. Again, cones, circular base. Nice and easy. Your pyramids are similar to your prisms in the sense of you're looking for the shape that you're going to have to identify. Typically, the shape that it's sitting on. If you hear my children screaming in the background, I'm sorry. Sphere. Those are the easiest to identify. It's a globe, it's a basketball, it's a volleyball, it's a soccer ball, it's a ball. So, number one, you're classifying each solid and you're highlighting the base. Number one only has one base, and then it leads up into a point. That means you're dealing with either a pyramid or a cone. If it was a cone, you would have a circular base. Obviously not a circle. So, you have to identify what type of shape this base is. It's a rectangle. The reason it's a rectangle, you've got 4 right angles. Girls, can you knock it off? Sorry about that. Anywho, 4 right angles. Opposite sides parallel, opposite sides congruent. So rectangular pyramid. Number 2, nice and easy. You've got one base, leads to a point. Your base is circle, it's a cone. So number 1, you had to have 2 classifications. You had to classify your base shape and the type of figure. This, just the figure. Number 3, you've got 2 bases. You've got a top base and a bottom base. The reason we know these are your bases is because they're the only shapes in this particular figure that are parallel. You focus on what type those are triangles. So it's a triangular prism. Number 4, we're going back to only having one base that leads up into a point. Our one base is definitely not a circle, so it cannot be a cone, which means we're dealing with some type of pyramid. Count your sides. You have 6, so it's a hexagonal pyramid. Number 5, one base, two bases, and both bases are circle, so it's a cylinder. Again, 2 sets of classifications, 1. Nice and easy. Number 6 is slightly trickier, not because it's hard, because figuring out which one the base is a little different. In this case, you've got 90s marked on the bottom. That's what tells you that shape is the base. If you look at it though, that's a rectangle. That's a rectangle. Well, looky here. This back shape is a rectangle and the front shape is a rectangle. And your side and side, those are quadrilaterals of some sort. So on this one, you've got a lot of different bases. But focus on the one that's highlighted for you, meaning something that's got details to go off of. That's how we know this one is a rectangular prism. Number 7. Again, you've got 2 bases, but you've got a top and a bottom that are parallel. But that's a rectangle, that's a rectangle. Then you've got these sides that are rectangles. So what shape sticks out at you? Should be the trapezoid up front and the trapezoid out back, which is why it's a trapezoidal prism. So if you have a shape that is not a rectangle, that is your base shape. Number 8, one base to a point, which means we're dealing with a pyramid or a cone. That's not a circle, so it cannot be a cone. So look at your base. And again, it's your base because you've got that mark congruent to that. And then you've got your 90s. Well, if you've got 4 congruent sides and 4 90s, that means you've got a square. So it's a square pyramid. Number 9, 2 parallel bases, which means it's either a prism or a cylinder. These are not circles, so it cannot be a cylinder. Rectangle, 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 rectangle. You've got 5 rectangles. What are your odd shapes out? The pentagons on top and bottom. So it is a pentagonal prism. Number 10 is a bit of an oddball shape. It is a pyramid mainly because you don't have any bases that are parallel. You just have the one it's sitting on. And that's in the shape of a triangle. So it's a triangular pyramid. Number 11, your only two things that are parallel, the front triangle and the back triangle. That's why it's a triangular prism. If you compare 11 to 3, they're very similar, except, 11's on its bottom, 3's up on its side. And then number 12, your easiest one to identify, a sphere.